At times, we all require assistance. The judge stopped the session when she saw the young girl giving a sign to a dog that was deaf. The dog did something shocking next. Sarah hated appearing in court. Even as adults, it could be unsettling, but for a young girl facing a dangerous man, it could be downright terrifying. She had spent months getting ready for court, but as soon as she got in the chair, she became motionless. She was unable to speak and was unable to look at anyone. Even under ideal conditions, she was a shy youngster and public speaking frightened her. Sarah doubted her ability to succeed. She wanted to bolt from the courtroom, never to return, but she was too tired to move her legs. She then gestured to the deaf dog that was sitting off to the side. Carl was fully aware of what to do. His response stunned the audience in court. However, how was the deaf dog treated on its initial court appearance? Carl was a big dog, a white boxer to be exact, but he wasn't your typical pet that crept into court. He was a canine therapist. Courtroom therapy dogs are permitted to assist children who must testify. Many smaller children feel much safer at trying times when they have a big dog by their side. Furthermore, it can really make a world of difference if that big dog is also gentle and affectionate. Carl was only one of the canines trained for court therapy through the Companions for Courage and Canine circuit programs. They all put in a lot of effort to assist those in genuine need, but Carl was unique even among them. They discovered that Carl was deaf when he was still a small puppy being trained as a service dog. At that point, the majority of training options for service dogs would be closed. Fortunately, however, Carl's strategy was reworked. They desired for him to become a therapy dog that could assist numerous peoples as opposed to a service dog who would only be able to assist one. His infirmity would not limit his ability to help others. It's possible that his deafness made him a more effective courtroom therapy dog than he would have been had he been hearing. The majority of puppies must be educated to tune out all of the sounds associated with working in a public setting, like a courtroom. It's one of the main causes of some dogs' disqualification. Ultimately, teaching dogs to remain silent in the face of loud noises, angry humans, or violent or loud reactions is a difficult task. None of that matters to a deaf dog. He can't hear the noise, so he doesn't need to learn how to ignore it. It would function perfectly. Carl could maintain his whole concentration on the people he needed to console. The dog would be unable to obey any spoken commands, which was the sole issue. Short commands such as come, sit, and stay are typically a service dog's lifeline. However, that didn't deter the astute dog. Joanne, his amazing trainer, was committed to teaching the dog everything she and he could. She would put in long hours to achieve her objective of having the best therapy dog possible, and he had everything he needed to be just that. Even though Carl isn't able to understand spoken instructions, he can nevertheless pick up on people's reactions. He didn't ever need to hear what his trainer was saying to him because she had taught him American Sign Language. Although it required some skill and persistence, the dog's desire to please his teacher made up for his extreme intelligence. He picked things up fairly fast. Even so, there were certain critical components of training to become a service dog that could not be taught. Everything would hinge on his ability to grasp those facets. When he began serving as a therapy dog, they would evaluate how things went during his hands-on training. During one of the scariest moments of the children's lives, Carl swiftly won their love and popularity. A wild canine that would scare them even more was not what they needed. Carl was a soothing, cool-headed man who would let the kids embrace and kiss him without batting an eyelid or becoming combative. They felt secure and guarded by the big dog seated next to them. With the dog guarding them, they believed the person they were testifying against would be unable to reach them. Carl had a distinct gift, which Joanne complemented with her idea of a strategy. During the chilly winter months, the dog didn't mind dressing in a jersey or other clothes. In fact, he particularly enjoyed dressing warmly. This may help children feel even more comfortable. He always had something new and outrageous to wear to work at the courts, which made the kids laugh. His hats gained notoriety in the legal community. Everyone was able to de-stress thanks to a little humor in the face of a really serious and frightening event. Strangely enough, though, sitting motionless was one of Carl's worst problems as a puppy. The courtroom is a long place to wait. During court sessions, trainers are not permitted to walk or play with the dogs. It can be tedious for them to have to wait the entire time. Carl needed to develop the patience to wait for his case or the witness he was assigned to protect. He put a lot of effort into learning how to sit quietly in court, and ultimately, he became proficient at it. And after a while, he was discovered waiting for his employment to begin and his new friends to approach him while seated on the bench. It wasn't always simple, and one of the upcoming cases will present him with one of his toughest obstacles to date. First of all, a lot of young children dislike speaking in front of others. They find it difficult to talk in front of a packed court. It was therefore unimaginable for a traumatized and exceedingly shy, small girl to talk about her darkest memories in public, while also aware that her horrible father would be looking on. Little Sarah was terrified, and although her parents were reluctant to let her testify, it was necessary to bring the evil guy to justice, and only she could do it. But it wouldn't be just her. It was incredibly unsettling the first time she appeared in court. Entering the courtroom was an awful experience. It was difficult enough to enter. Still, she succeeded. Carl and she had been collaborators for some time. They had trained her how to signal to him with her hands when she felt anxious. The dog was proficient in sign language, but naturally not many of the kids entering the courtroom were. Joanne made simple signs that Carl could use and that the children could deliver to him when they needed him. Carl would get to know his new friend so that they'd know they could trust him before they ever set foot in the courtroom. Sarah knew she wasn't alone while she was sitting in that eerie courtroom, and her throat was constricted. The judge stopped the session when she saw the young girl giving the deaf dog a sign. It's shocking to see what the dog did next. The judge recognized from her familiarity with Carl's work that when a youngster sent him a signal, it meant they were feeling overburdened. He stopped the action so he could perform his magic for a little while. The dog recognized her signal and came running over. He blocked her path to the villain and prevented her from turning to face him. The girl gained the confidence to speak up when he sat next to her. The judge resumed the court proceedings as soon as she turned to face him. With the dog by her side, she could share her story. Carl remained by her side the entire time she was testifying. She gave him a look and focused on giving him a head scratch while she related her tale. It was beneficial. Sarah would not only have to appear in court once, there were other challenges ahead, and they would all require a great deal of bravery. Carl would always be there for her as soon as she got out of the car when she was just arriving at the courtroom. She never spent a minute alone herself, and when she lacked the confidence to go alone, the dog would even accompany her into the courtroom. At every appearance, he was by her side, watching her and responding just the way she asked. She was able to eventually receive the justice she was due because he provided her with the comfort and security to tell the entire story. The smart girl would never be able to articulate how much the puppy meant to her. After the trials were concluded, she would no longer be attending court. Did that mean her days of seeing her beloved puppy were over? They didn't want to add to the trauma she had already experienced. Her distress may worsen if they suddenly shut off all of her communication with the dog she had come to rely on so much for months. This could feel like abandonment. Thus, after Sarah's court appearances were over, they took care to arrange more meetings between Carl and the child. They had a few more opportunities to hang out. The visits gradually came to an end when the girl was prepared to let go and go on. Carl, the therapy dog, impacted numerous lives, this being just one of them. She had accompanied numerous children through the entire judicial process, offering them support. However, his influence extended beyond his youthful companions. He also assisted courts generally and adults as well. He made a significant contribution to the shift in perspective. His tale gained international attention and contributed to raising awareness of the amazing program of which he was a part of. The way the courts run has significantly changed thanks to Carl and other dogs in the program. Even adults who required further care benefited from having dogs in the courtroom, as they helped to reduce tension. Carl, in particular, warmed hearts. He was unique, and he demonstrated how uniqueness can sometimes be a source of strength. Anybody can change the world, all it takes is an open heart to lend a helping hand. In his spare time, Carl has met a lot of people, many of whom have been eager to confide in him. According to Joanne, a lot of people hug him and cry because his presence moves them. He was a unique dog who made an excellent therapy dog because of his affection for people. The fact that he treated everyone as a friend has helped many people who were in need of him to feel better. Carl's work wasn't all that difficult, though. His favorite activities were playing with people and offering comfort. He provided the necessary empathy and encouragement to those he assisted, but in return, they offered him far more. He received more affection and care than a dog could ask for. How many of our pets wouldn't mind spending the entire day hanging around and getting scratches? Therapy dogs assist not just the adults and children directly participating in court proceedings, but also the court system's specialists. The judges that oversee the cases may experience similar levels of stress. It's a demanding job, but the therapy dogs at the court are always willing to offer a helping hand to their colleagues. Judges can ask for dog support when they are having trouble thinking through their cases. Any judge in need of this kind of support can get it through the program. Don't worry though, the program also ensures that the dogs receive enough sleep and don't overdo it. The humans who depend on dogs and their importance are equal. After being given shift assignments and patient lists, they work either in the morning or the afternoon. Carl was of assistance to Sarah and many others. The Therapy Dog program is an amazing initiative, and courts around the world have been considering obtaining therapy dogs for their witnesses and victims.